I mean, that's what I told her. Ridiculous, right? Yeah. Oh, I gotta go. Hi. Oh my gosh. I can't believe you came back. That's right. Welcome to episode 2 of Auntie with Mrs. Kasha Davis. That's right. I am so delighted that you're here. You know, it has been such a treat reading all the messages of love and support and the shares and the encouragement for us here doing this podcast. And even the shade. I mean, this one was really funny. This is fine. No, it's fine. It's just that's the way the internet works these days. And honestly, I just can't wait to continue to bring you the movers, the shakers, the entrepreneurs, and the people that I just love and adore. And I have to tell you that this next guest just warmed my heart from the moment I saw her in Batavia, New York at Pride. Let me see if she's available. Are you there?
Hello, it's me, RuPaul.
Yeah. Hi, Ru.
Hiya, Ru.
I got a bone to pick with you. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's get off FaceTime. Good. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. See, we have modern technology here in Rochester, New York at Vox. You can do your recording of your podcast here and check it out. But honestly, so good to see you, looking just lovely.
Oh, just a little innocent little baby that I am.
Oh my gosh. Carmen Adore, the youngest member of Drag Me to Brunch.
Well, we gotta, young it up. It was getting a little retirement home realness.
Stop. No, I have to tell you, so one of the things that I'm most excited about doing is having this podcast for absolutely anyone who will listen. But the idea is to celebrate people that I have met and that I have become like family, but also that I am so impressed with. And from the moment, I remember, this is the true story. It was Batavia, New York. Mm-hmm. And we were both doing the Pride Festival there, which was like there was nearly a dozen people there, I think.
Oh, it was packed to the brim with the sound system that was hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, and it was a boombox on like a folding table. But we had fun. I mean, this is oftentimes what Pride is like in smaller towns. And we were there together. And I want to say it was like this gold... You had this amazing gold costume or some kind of like, was it like pleather or something?
It was, I don't know. I actually don't know what it was, but it was like a gold reflective, like spiky thing.
Spiky, yeah.
I still have it. It's buried deep in the closet.
No, but what struck me was like, oh, this queen is not somebody I know from the Rochester scene. She's new here. And tell everybody tell us a little bit about your story. Like, what brought you to Rochester, New York? Where did the story begin?
Oh, how far back do we go? So I'm originally from Miami, Florida. And I grew up in Hialeah, which is, for those that know Hialeah, it's very Cuban, it's very Latin.
Okay.
It would be strange if you found someone that spoke English in Hialeah. It was that kind of Spanish. But after a while, I graduated high school, graduated beauty school, blah, 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 moved to Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors. And then that's where drag happened.
Oh, tell us about this story. How did this little fella get themselves all into drag?
So it started, I lived with roommates. It was kind of like, when you think of friends or when you think of a living single, just a group of friends living together.
Right.
A tiny house, like 3 or 4 bedrooms. It was like 5, 6 of us.
Oh, okay, right.
And then they all did drag. I was still underage. So the only way I could go out with them, they would have to put me in drag.
Oh, so then they wouldn't know your age.
They wouldn't ID. I mean, I'm sure they ID now if people were in drag, but back then it was just
back then, it wasn't that long ago. Where are we talking?
I mean, I'm from the 80s.
Lies. I mean, this is because
it was like early 2000s.
Yeah, right. Not that long ago. I mean, for me, it's not that long ago, but
for me, it was like a good 16, 15 years ago.
So you were how old when you first went to the drag bar?
My first drag was 18. I was 18 years old. I just moved to Fort Lauderdale.
So you moved to Fort Lauderdale. You moved out of your home life?
Like a home. I hopped around. I was a tourist around.
Okay, yeah.
Hopped around different places, but eventually ended up in Wilton Manors.
Yeah. So, but did you move out of your family home like at a young age because you just wanted to get out and explore? Or
I
what?
moved out several times.
Okay.
From my family home at a young age.
So you were always fiery.
I was always ready to go.
No, I mean, you were a very passionate person.
I was.
You probably were like, I need to go be me.
I need to do me, and I don't like being in places where I feel stifled, where I feel like I can't grow.
Right.
And part of that was also why I decided to move out of Fort Lauderdale. Because I didn't feel like I was growing. I felt like Fort Lauderdale drag is a little tricky.
Okay.
I don't want to get hate but if you want to hate, you can send it to carmenadore@gmail.com. Fort Lauderdale drag is very cliquey.
Okay.
In a way. You only get bookings if you know if you're friends with someone or if you're cool with someone.
Right.
And it was a place where you wouldn't want to really vent your feelings to sisters.
Oh, these backstabbing and
It's
stuff.
a lot of backstabbing, a lot of, did you hear this? I heard this. Well, she said this and that. And that is so toxic to be around, especially with drag. So I was just at a point where I was beating myself down. I was very depressed. I called my sis Gemini up and I said, look, I'm feeling this type of way. She said, come to Rochester. It's completely different.
Isn't that fun? Now Gemini is a drag queen and a fabulous friend of yours from Rochester, New York.
She's recently retired from drag.
Yeah.
So further notice.
How did you know her?
We go way back.
So
she saw me from the beginning.
Okay. So
she saw me in many forms of my life. But
okay. Yeah. So you've known each other for years.
So many years.
And Gemini lived in Rochester.
She lived in Rochester, originally from Boston, moved around.
Right.
Ended up in Rochester. She was like, it's a different scene. No one's going to know you. Everyone here is cool, friendly, nice. Come over here and try it out.
Right. And so when did you move to Rochester?
At the 2020, like in the middle of 2020.
Oh, my God.
And I ended up going to Roar, where I met Dee Dee Dubois, and I was doing a lot of her wigs, too. And
right.
Roar was still with the pandemic, with the plexiglass.
Yeah, so you're just you moved right when we had to have all of these restrictions and this stuff. Okay. Yeah. I didn't realize that. Knowing you for this long, I thought maybe it was, for whatever reason, I thought it was right. I don't know. Maybe I thought it was after that. I'm not sure. I did not realize that it was at that time, which was everybody can tell those stories. I mean, look, basically right now we are doing Zoom drag. Basically. I mean, if this camera pans down, we got sweatpants and Birkenstocks.
But at least I can see myself, so we're all good.
Yeah, you're stunning. No, but so you move here at that point. Obviously, Roar nightclub is the big nightclub in Rochester, New York, that is the main drag bar. The first episode, we talked a lot about Mothers, which was previous to your time here.
Yeah, and I do get asked a lot about it once I'm here.
Right.
They're like, have you been to, or Tilt? Also?
And Tilt was another club.
Yeah, there was. I hear about it all the time. I wish I would have experienced it.
Well, I think what Dee Dee has done very well is that she's taken a little bit of Tilt, a little bit of Mothers, and then her own flair, and is working and just having this idea of bringing drag, bringing a dance club, bringing some brunches, bringing the bingo, trying to make it where everybody's welcome. And I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, because there's really, when you think about it, now that we live here, where can you go to enjoy a drag show, to dance in a big space, and that's multi-level VIP?
All that.
There's nothing unless you go and invade the spaces of the heterosexual. But there's not really anywhere to go.
We're at a time in at least in my experience, where people are more welcome at different places, and I think that one of the things that we've noticed with the gay bars or the everyone welcome bars is that there is less kind of stress happening there, and a lot of straight women will go and they'll end up finding a fella, maybe, or who knows, at the bars. And I think just what I really love about Roar is that everybody's welcome. And I think that's great. But so now you came from the Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors area. You're outperforming there. You're already an established queen. You come here. Gemini invites you. What's the big difference? What in general for the general drag scene? And I mean, you can be shady if you need to be, but what was the big difference? What did it feel like going from there to here?
It was definitely a culture shock, because in Wilton Manors, everything is gay. Every place you go to is
because
gay.
It's a vacation spot.
It's a vacation spot. Yeah, it's really close to the Fort Lauderdale beach.
But it's a primarily gay area, right?
Definitely 90% primarily gay. A little sprinkles of the lesbians and stuff, but it was just a whole strip, blocks of just gay, everything gay. And here, everything's more spread out.
Okay.
There's not really one focused area like Wilton Manors. This is, you got to drive to the gig, or you got to, or it's a warehouse in the middle of, I don't even know because I'm not from here.
Yeah.
But it's those kind of, it's not really like a centralized area. So it's very different. I feel like it's almost better that way.
But in terms of the drag community, I think I remember you telling me that you had the sisterhood in Florida, and then there might have been some older queens that you kind of gravitated towards. Was that vibe different here? Is it the same? Is drag the same everywhere? Because I mean, I've only done drag here, and certainly I've toured all around, and I gravitate to. I feel like there's a lot of similarities in each bar, but what was it like with your experience?
I feel like it's the difference is we have a mature crowd and younger drag queens in Fort Lauderdale. And then here, it's the opposite. Oh. It's the mature drag queens, younger crowd.
That's interesting. I never thought of that.
And I love the younger crowd. Yeah. Because really in Fort Lauderdale, I didn't feel like we were connecting a lot to the audience. It was a bunch of old men. They're all drunk. They're all looking to get their fun on the strip, you know? Like Vegas.
A little tickle pickle.
Tickle my pickle. But here, it's not like that. It's young kids. They want to have fun. They're in college. They just want to do a couple shots and leave.
Right.
It's very different.
Now, going through the experience of the, internet drag, COVID drag, all that, did you find yourself gravitating more towards like social media drag at that time?
I did. I felt like, well, what do we do now?
Right.
Because before it was everywhere, and it was getting to the point with RuPaul's Drag Race encouraging the, status of drag queens everywhere. And then all of a sudden it was crickets.
Yeah.
So we had to figure out a medium for people to see us. And I blew up on TikTok, and I didn't even have TikTok at the time.
So you really, again, I love having guests that impress me. And one of the things that impressed me, one of the things we'll talk about today, but I remember seeing you at the gig backstage, instead of just, a typical drag group of people or talking to each other, drinking, eating, whatever. You're off to the side. Mm-hmm. You've got a special light, and you have a series of scripts or things you're going to lip sync or things you're going to do, and you were pumping out content. And I immediately was like, I need to do that. Like, you taught me, like, that is what I need to do. Obviously, you're younger than I am, and you had this popularity, and you showed me that was something important to do, and there's an audience.
Yeah, there's definitely an audience, because you can only reach so many people in person,
right?
And without having to go out and go to the bars and promote yourself, which is what we used to do. Back in the day, there wasn't no MySpace, Facebook, nothing.
Right.
We had to stand on the street like a hooker and hand out pamphlets. And
we call that barking. We bark.
Bark and bark.
Yeah, bark and bark. Come see the show. Well, so you have the social media drag. You have your experience in Florida. You came here. What shows did you gravitate towards? Like the Friday night show? Did you like the brunch shows? Did you like all of it? Is there something that you were like, ooh, I really like that?
I've always gravitated towards brunches. Nightclubs are fine, and they're fun and dandy.
Yeah.
But I'm also reaching my certain age.
Oh, stop.
Where being out late isn't that fun anymore. And I'm honestly not a big drinker. I'd rather wake up, get the job done.
Yeah.
To have a little mimosas. And then leave, go home.
Well, and the audience. What do you think is that brunch audience?
Brunch audience are the best.
Yeah.
Single white females, bachelorettes, or a group of office women who just want to give you money.
Well, yes. Mm-hmm. But they also want the experience. Mm-hmm. And I've said this over time and time again. RuPaul's Drag Race introduced the world to mainstream drag. And people want it in the form of brunch. And I think they want to support. And I don't know about you, but like, I don't necessarily feel the anger if somebody wants the picture and if somebody's a little tipsy. I mean, no, don't pull my hair off. But it's so cool to see people wanting to come together to have a good time. And you're so sweet to them.
Yeah.
I watch everything. And I love how just you can be sweet to the young and sassy, whatever is going on. But then you got grandma over here and you're going to have her have a good time. And as gorgeous as you are, sometimes you'll rip that wig right off and just be like, just have a great time.
Bald. I love showing my little bald head sometimes.
But
I love connecting with all walks of life.
Yeah.
I feel like we learn so much from each other. And with brunch, it's more intimate where we can have that opportunity. There's not music blaring. But that's why I like brunch.
What do you think about hosting?
Oh, I'm still getting used to it.
But you're getting really good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With your practice and help,
I think, we have that Rochester supportive thing where we're pushing each other to do the things that we're sometimes uncomfortable with. Because Aggie taught me, like, if you can't get out there and have the hosting under your belt, you're going to have less opportunities for work.
And now I don't even think about it. I just run outside and act a fool, and they love it.
Right. And, you're communicating with the audience. You're having that interaction. I think it's fascinating. A lot of newer, younger queens have had the luxury of the internet, of going out there and even just walking into the mall and being like, yeah, I'm going to buy whatever I want or whatever. Yeah. And you have a bit of an old soul where you say, you know what, I'm going to make this. And you make your own costumes.
Except for this one.
Well, but you make many of them.
Yeah, I make some.
You have the ability.
Yeah. And I make wigs too. I didn't make this wig, but I do make wigs myself too.
Let's talk about that. So you said, you went to school, you said cosmetology.
I went to cosmetology straight after high school.
Okay. And then what did you do with that? Did you work in a salon or anything?
I actually owned a salon right after beauty school. It was a little salon that was going out of business, and I worked with the owner, and they just signed it over to me. It was so hard to keep that place afloat without the experience of already being in it.
Yeah.
And eventually I had to let it go. But
how old were you at that point?
I was maybe 20.
That's amazing. See, we could look back at those experiences and say, "Oh my gosh, it was hard to do," but you did that. At 20 years old, you had your cosmetology, you ran a salon, you had the experience, and then made the decision to start to do. Tell us a little bit how you got into doing wigs.
So I was doing drag for a while. The only place to buy wigs was at a beauty store, and it was shake and go.
Right.
Shake and goes all the time. But then after a while, I got so bored with it. I started like pinning up little ponytails, or I started like pulling it back out of my face, and people were like, "Oh, okay." And then just the more I played with it, it just got to this crazy thing now where I'm making the urchins, which is the big spikes of the updos that I do now, and it's so crazy how I grew from that.
Well, you've been having your wig business. Hatz by Carlos for how long now? Have you about
over 10 years?
10 years. And how, name some of the names of people that wear your wigs. I mean, certainly all the Rochester queens do. Myself, Darian, Aggie. I think Pandora has purchased.
Pandora purchased,
Box.
yes.
What about, give us some names.
Oh my God, let's
throw them out there.
It started with Shangela.
Right.
And then it went to Trinity K, Jan. It went to, who else? Olivia Lux. Tina Burner, just recently Laganja.
Well, and we have to tell that story. So now, obviously, you have your business. You're running this business for 10 years. It's really, really important that if a drag queen should wear your work, or anybody wears your wig, that they do the favor, because it's a small business, to tag you, to talk about you. So Laganja is on a podcast. You take it from here.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
We know how she gets down, and that's great.
Yeah.
She forgot what my name was. Maddie was asking her, or she was trying to describe her outfit, and then she was just like, But honestly, that was the best for me.
Yes, because Maddie is such a business person that in their video they put Hatz by Carlos.
Exactly.
And it was perfect because
now I get a little moment out of it.
Right. We could sit and we can say who made this, dress or made this wig or this things, and people are interested.
What do you call it? The table of contents.
The table of contents. Well, I got that from, oh my gosh, it was on Delta's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget who it was. It was on there. Oh my gosh, it was so shady. And because they were basically saying, like these drag queens now, oh my God, now I'm Laganja. Too much coffee. No. But they were saying that the drag queens these days don't make their own clothes, don't make their own hair. They post a picture of themselves, and then on the table of contents, they say, Hatz by Carlos, Thatchworks Designs, whoever. And I have never, ever been good at making costumes. You can look back to obviously RuPaul's Drag Race, All Stars. We know that. Horrible. You've been to my house. I have this more is more, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, we put these pictures on the wall, more. If I'm going to glue something onto a costume, more. Mm-hmm. And there's something not cohesive to it. If you go back, Rain Lounge in Syracuse used to do these competitions, and he was like, okay, it was all going to be with newspaper. And I did this newspaper look. Everybody looked chic. I looked like shit. It was. They were like, what is Kasha doing?
Oh, gosh.
I have such a respect for an artist like you that can say, yeah, I'm not just able to look really pretty. Mm-hmm. I know how my body, how to make my body look best in a garment, how to make that. Oh, I see somebody who's making that. I'm going to make it. I said on Drag Race, I'm like, I'm not Amish and I have good credit. I'd rather pay you to do it because you're an expert. Just like I wouldn't dig my own in-ground pool. I could dig the hole, but it's going to be a mud hole.
Yeah, and I like supporting other artists in that way. Because I also can make my stuff, but there's times where I'm lazy. I don't want to do it. Before it was a necessity, where now there's so many artists to choose from.
Oh my gosh.
I'd rather support an artist.
Well, you are talented. You see stuff and you get motivated by it. You're like, oh, I saw this one. Mm-hmm. And you've even told me, you're like, oh, I like this particular designer. I'd love to just maybe study them and go and learn from them.
Yes.
But you're also so your prices are in line, and because we know because as a drag queen, what the gigs are paying.
Yes, some gigs are still charging $50,
right?
And that can't afford anything. I mean, in my opinion, they can't afford anything.
Right? They're paying you $50. I mean, yeah. It's. I think one of the things that I'm proud of that we're doing with Drag Me to Brunch is that we're instead of we're spreading the pay equally so that people can go out there and then reinvest in their drag.
Yeah.
And because there's. Yes, some people come for the emceeing and some people come for the comedy, but they're going to come for those looks. They're going to come to see that.
If you pay your girls more, they're going to give you more. Because it's a natural thing for drag queens. I feel like once we get money, we're like, okay, what can I buy? What can I buy? What can I? Because we're at this point. We're constantly improving at this point.
Well, we're improving, but we're also bombarded. Yeah. I mean, there are so many really talented designers and places. I mean, you could also jump on Amazon or what's that other one? ASOS or something like that. You can buy.
Is it I want to say Temu, but I don't.
Temu. I don't know what it is.
Shein. Yeah.
Maybe not for my age or size, but some of these girls, I'm like, wow, that's great. Why? Yeah. Why is that made for drag queens? Mm-hmm. Oh, the one that I love because we both have big feet. Now you have size the box.
I have to look for size 15, which don't exist in most places.
No, but you have great shoes, and then a couple boats, but kayaks.
I do prefer a good Croc.
Me too.
Yeah.
No, actually, I like the Birkenstocks. I'm not. Yeah. No, but the made for men is a heel is for heels, and they go up to those different sizes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I just love that we live in this. There's a lot of negativity out there, but then there are bits and pieces like that pop up, and there's opportunities like this where who knows who could be listening.
Oh yeah,
and take a look. And it's so inspiring, though. Yes. I mean, I'll be honest with you. You are younger and live so openly on social media. And I don't know if you know that when I see if you're having a bad day, Auntie Kasha immediately is like, what's going on?
The run. Right in the text messages. Are you okay? What's happening?
And I think it's just a generational thing. Like, I think, you've essentially grown up with social media right there in your hands. And there are times when I'm like, okay, I don't need to share that per se. And it's very special that you are so open and that you are so real. One of the posts that I saw, I think it was something to the effect of what you would say to your little boy self.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So that little boy, the reason that I'm so open is because that little boy was silenced in a way a lot. So I feel like once social media came, it was, what are you thinking? It's literally the first thing you see. How are you feeling? What are you thinking? Word vomit. Like, This is how I feel. This is what, and if they're going to say, oh, you can't do that, or it's not right to do that. Someone sees that post and someone relates to me. And they're like, same. Right. I feel exactly the same. You're completely right. And then it's just a bunch of people that genuinely, we share the same feelings.
Yeah.
And we can be out and loud and crazy and problematic if we want to. But that little boy was so silenced and quiet growing up that I feel like I needed to be a voice for him. So a lot of what I do is for him.
I love that. I mean, that's probably another reason why we connect and can relate. And, it's a little emotional, but I think it's a fun question. What would you say if that little boy walked into this room right now?
Oh, man. I would probably break down and cry. Life is hard, but it moves fast. And as long as you just think about happy thoughts or just stay in a positive mind frame, it's going to go by like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what haters say. It doesn't matter who has an opinion of what. At the end of the day, nothing really matters besides what you're put on this earth to do, whatever that is.
What do you think you're put on this earth to do?
For wigs, I've always been creative in a way. I've always mixed and futzed with things. So I just kind of, once I've found my way to wigs, I'm happy. I'm content. I'll sit right here and do all the wigs I can.
Well, you're sharing your creativity and you're so open with your emotions, like I mentioned on social media. But I see it. You light people's afternoon up at a brunch, at a show. You're venturing into other areas. What I love about Roar is that obviously they have the bingos. Obviously they have the open drag nights, but you're doing theater now.
Yes, and I didn't think I would like it.
And I think that's amazing to let people know that, you weren't sure you were going to like it. You weren't sure you should do it. You did it, and this is your second play now, right?
Second play. This one is not a musical, which the first one we did was a musical.
Little Shop of
Horrors. And I'm not a Broadway diva.
Right.
It's not really, musicals aren't my thing. But I really got into it. Once we were into the groove, we had our placements, our lines, and everything was flowing. I absolutely enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Now we have a comedy murder mystery.
Nice.
And if some people have seen it before, it goes by the one-act play. So it's basically a play, a comedic murder mystery where everything goes wrong.
Yes.
The set's falling apart. People forgetting their lines. People are falling out of the roof. Things like that. So I love that comedy side. So I'm happy to be let's put those together.
Yeah.
Comedy with theater.
Now, is your character a drag queen?
My character's not a drag queen.
Not a drag queen. No. Oh, that's cool too.
My character is, which I totally enjoy too. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I can be a drag, be not a drag. My character, his name is Max. And he is the brother of someone who dies. And he has a little secret. He may be a little, bent wrist, but we don't know that. He's been caught in love with someone else. So it just kind of spirals down. Every character has their own backstory, and you get to know one by one each character to figure out who did the killing.
This is what I love about Roar, is that they're taking these ideas and creating more community and creating more opportunity. And so you are able to thrive there, and we're so glad to have you as a part of the Drag Me to Brunch cast. Now, the question that I told you I was going to talk to you about. Have you ever auditioned for RuPaul's Drag Race?
I have officially auditioned 5 times.
5 times.
I never got a phone call or anything. And it's weird to me because a lot of the people around me get picked. Like, before Jan even got on, I had known Jan from just buying random wigs from him.
Right.
And then Morphine I've seen from, I wouldn't say the beginning, but close to the beginning. And her mother, Athena Dion, is someone I started drag around the same time.
So you know these people.
I know their drag so closely. And then it's kind of like, hey, but I'm over here.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's very tough to get in.
It's easy for me to say because I have been on, but I did auditions for all 7 seasons. So I understand that frustration. Yeah. Pandora Box was cast on season 2, so we were all just like, well, Pandora can get on, we can all get on. Not because she was not talented, just because we knew her. It made the Hollywood shine less significant. We were like, oh, it's possible because our friend got on. But I love that you don't give up. I love that you feel the emotions. I mean, each couple times it's the second time that
you've seen me
go through the audition process. And it's devastating. And as you said about your little boy self or your younger self, is that those feelings are meant to be felt and they become the foundation for whatever comes next. And so these things happen. Now you're also auditioning for, and so by feeling those and having that foundation, you're able to maybe get through the next thing in life.
Right.
And then maybe some other opportunity opens up. You said you're also... Am I correct in saying that you might be auditioning for another drag?
Right, because now, thanks to RuPaul's Drag Race, there's other avenues to go down. So if, I've tried my best, maybe I'm not giving what they want, so let me go, what's behind this door?
Yeah.
Or what's behind that door? Because there's things like Dragula, Camp Wanakiki.
Right. There's
Drag Latina, which is the Spanish version of Drag Race.
Yes.
So many other avenues that you can go down. And to go back to the auditioning process, it is depressing because they don't tell you.
You get no feedback.
No feedback. You're just waiting on an email that's never going to come.
Yeah.
At least if you were just like, hey, maybe improve this or do that. And that's unrealistic in Hollywood. That's fine. But the feeling of, oh, I'm not good enough, or
because it's our community, and it's the most notable show, the one the most notoriety. It was winning all these awards, and you want to be a part of that. You want to be drag as this is our family.
For me, it's the feeling of validation that I'm not getting from something that I really want. And maybe it's just not meant for me, and that's fine.
Maybe. But also, I think what I would say is that we have to remember that a reality television show is like casting the play you were talking about, the murder mystery. And then somebody was meant for this role. And that it is not an indication of whether your drag is good or not.
Right.
And then there are networks that get involved, and there are other personalities that get involved that say, like, for instance, I was always, no matter what, when I audition, I've always been older. So as an older queen, Aggie and I would be right up against each other.
Yeah.
And maybe on season 7, they were like, it was between us, and they made the decision to choose me for whatever reason it may be. Maybe because of Mr. and Mrs. Davis, maybe because of being less polished. I mean, it's not necessarily about, so it doesn't matter whether I say that, and you have every right and should experience those things, but it's the sisterhood that's still there. And I mean, you have put your hat, your creativity has been on RuPaul's Drag Race, not just in the U.S., but internationally.
Internationally, several seasons, several All-Stars. Now, thankfully, I get to work with the All-Stars.
Yeah. so you can say you have been
I've
on
been on
RuPaul's
that
Drag
show.
Race. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Technically.
And so what I
Where's my Emmy?
Hey, at some point you can be doing RuPaul's hair. You just never know.
I would love it.
You just never know. Delta did it. You can do it. And these possibilities are there. And for me, what I have learned in my sobriety journey is that gratitude. And so while we should feel those feelings of I did not get cast, also then take a list of like, you know what? I have people who are wearing my creativity. And you can look back and be proud at that and write that down and vocalize that. As you mentioned earlier about, you know, speaking the positive words, the more that we do that, and then connect with people, connect, whether it's through social media or you and I texting each other, and just keep going because that's what life is all about.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just to continue to do things. You know, this particular experience is new for me, but I'm like, who do I want on first? Mr. Davis. And who do I want on second? One of my brunch girls. And you're the first one I thought of because I'm so proud of you as a friend, but as a drag auntie to see not just the drive that you have for the creativity of the drag, the kindness that you show for the audiences and your sisters, and then you're an entrepreneur. You're running a business. Now, I push you all the time to get some employees so you can make more wigs, turn it into a factory, but it's not my business. I mean, you have to do it your way.
by myself.
It's
I
just
answer emails, answer
you do
DMs.
it all.
I do everything by myself.
Yeah, and you should be very proud of that. And that is very inspiring to people who are listening. You never know. Somebody might be listening who has no interest in wigs, no interest in drag, but maybe they want to do something that they love and that they're creative with, and you can encourage your story can be encouraging them to be like, you know what, I can do this too.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. Okay. So what I like to do next is I have these dad jokes here in the boxes. Okay. You know me. I like classic humor. So pick a random one and let's just see how you deliver it. I'm going to pick two. I'll go first. I'll give you a second. You could read. And we like to leave people on a positive note with regard to these dad jokes. Okay. How do you make a lemon drop? Just let it fall. It's just stupid. That's why it's funny. Okay, can you do it? Can you do it?
Okay. And the answer's on the back.
I think the answer's on the, for those that's on the back, yeah.
Is that the answer? That doesn't look like the answer.
Or is it in the bottom?
Oh, it is on the bottom.
Okay.
What did the nut say when she got a cold?
Cashew!
Of course you would know it.
Okay, what's the difference between a dog and a marine biologist? One wags a tail and one tags a whale. That's terrible.
That is terrible.
Okay, one more from you.
Okay, one more. Where does a penguin keep her money?
I don't know.
A snowbank.
Oh my gosh. All right. So where can people find you on the WWW?
On most social medias, I am under Carmen Adore or Carmen Adore Drag.
Right. And then they can find your wigs at
Hatz with a Z by Carlos.com.
Yes. And as you said, they're going to be speaking directly to you. They're going to get
only me.
A beautiful creation. Check out the Instagram for all the fabulosity. And I, again, like I said, I'm inspired by, we got to tell everybody. So recently I decided to let my eyebrows grow in.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's crazy. So in the drag, so for me to feminize my face, I have to draw my eyebrows up higher. I mean, I'm a man. So, and that's fine. You can present any way you want. But I was like sick of just seeing this, like no eyebrows because I'm bald too.
Yeah.
And so they're starting to grow in. And let me tell you something. They're like this, right? And this one is like, sent me the video, sent me the tutorial, and has been walking me through it because it's been like over 10 years since I've had eyebrows. And
that's wild.
And back then when I used to glue them down, I was drunk. So I mean, that was back when I
don't even remember what I was
like, I think they're good. And I'd get to the gig and they'd be like, because I never let them dry. So you've been helping with that. Again, I love that sisterhood. I love your drive, your creativity, and I can't wait to see what we do next together because we've got some plans. And there's going to be more to
ready.
come. So will you come back again?
I would love to be back anytime. I'm just a ring away.
A ringy dingy. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want to make your own podcast, I'm telling you right now, all you need to do is get in your vehicle, whether it's electric or gas powered, or even get on a bus and get out here to Rockvox. And you can go on the internet at rockvox.com. Just come back, check us out. We've got more inspiring people, more entrepreneurs, and more fabulosity here on Auntie. See you next time.